Hebrews. This is our Prophets of Awakening. This is our women's advanced Bible study class, the 16th of June, 2022. I'm gonna be doing dealing with angels. It's a complete history of angels. We're gonna look at what's being conveyed and what we already know about them and just do a comparison and contrast with that. I'm asking everybody to like, share, subscribe to Prophets of Awakening channel, and hit the notification button. This is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Shalom and welcome to Prophets of Awakening channel, and welcome to our advanced women's Bible study. We're going to do our moment of silence, prayer, psalms, some women's health, and then we do some current events, and then go into a little need to know information and then Q&A. Okay, so this moment of silence is for the Lord of Hosts and all that He's doing to bring about our deliverance from our prophesied deliverance from the land of our that we was scattered among for the last 2,000 years or so. Oh Lord, we come before Thee at this hour and at this time. Thank You and praise Thee for Thy strength, for Thy love and Thy great power. Oh Lord, we come before Thee with praise because we understand now who You are, and we appreciate You, oh Lord. We appreciate Your love. We appreciate Your wisdom. We appreciate Your consistency. We appreciate Your patience and understanding. We understand Your position in heaven and upon the earth. Therefore, we come this day seeking love, wisdom, consistency of spirit, patience, and understanding. Peace be unto You. Okay? So with that being said, I'm going to read a psalm. Okay? Okay, I'm going to read Psalm 83. It says this is a prayer for the destruction of Israel's enemies. It's a song of Asaph. Keep not Thy silence, O God. Hold not Thy peace. Be not still, O Lord. For lo, Thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate Thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against Thy people, and consulted against Thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may no more be remembered. For they are consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against Thee, the tabernacle of Edom, the Ishmaelites, the Moabites, Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gebal, Ammon, Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Asher also is joined with them. They have helped the children of Lot, Selah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as Sisera, as to Jabin at the brook of Kishon, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb and like Zeb, yea, all their princes like Zeba and Zalmunna. We said, let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession. Of my God, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth a wood, and as the flames setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with Thy tempest, and make them afraid with Thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek Thy name, O Lord. Let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, and let them be put to shame and perish. That man may know that Thou, whose name alone is Jehovah, art the Most High over all the earth. Okay, that was Psalms 83. This prayer for the destruction of Israel's enemies. Anybody got any comments on that? So, if you notice in there, verse 6, it gives you a list of all the names of the people that has conspired to get us where we are today, where we didn't know who we were for the longest. They all came together on one accord and conspired to, sabotage our scriptures, the Most High's word. And if you look at it, they all kinfolks. Edom, that's Esau, Jacob's brother. Ishmael, that's uh, that's Isaac's brother. Moab is from Lot. The Hagarenes got Gebal, Ammon, that's one of Lot's sons. Amalek is Esau's son. Most of these people right here is they kinfolks that conspired against Israel, the Israelites. Okay, and with that being said, we're gonna go into our women's health. See what we got with that.
Shalom. Tonight I'm going to talk about the health benefits of melons. There are different types of melons we know, like watermelon, cantaloupe, honeydew melons. There are even some melons you can get year round. So I'm going to cover some health benefits of each melon. I just took a few health benefits from each one. Okay. Besides the aroma and pleasant taste of melon, there are many benefits in the terms of health. It contributes to a healthy life with the help of high levels of vitamins and nutrients it contains. Melon is rich in vitamin A, B, and C. It also contains plenty of vitamin B complex such as B1, B3, B5, and B6. Also, it contains vitamins E and K. It also contains rich amounts of sodium, potassium, magnesium, iron, copper, and alpha beta carotene. Here are some of the health benefits of eating melon. It strengthens the immune system by stimulating red blood cells and revitalizes the immune system. It is rich in vitamin C. Because of this feature, it strengthens the immune system against attacks of foreign substances such as bacteria attacking the body. It increases the fight against free radicals in the body. It helps fight stress. It protects eye health. It is very rich in beta carotene that protects eye health and vision. It is converted into a vitamin A that enhances the vision of beta carotene. It protects lung health, eliminate menstrual problems. It contains plenty of vitamin C in women's menstrual cycle regularly and provides relief from cramps and pains caused by menstruation. It also can help prevent blood clots during menstruation. It makes it easy to lose weight. It is useful for bowel health. Melon can relieve toothaches. I did not know this. It can be applied to sore places or melon shell. The melon shell can be boiled and cooled, and water is gargled, applied to the painful tooth. It contains plenty of vitamin C to renew the skin, vital in bone health, rich in electrolytes and water. So, grab you a colorful and sweet melon, which is fat free and low in calories, yet packed with essential nutrients that help lower your risk for certain diseases and help to keep you looking and feeling great. So, I'm going to read Numbers 11, 1 through 6. The people complain. 11 and 1. And when the people complained, it displeased the Lord, and the Lord heard it, and his anger was kindled. And the fire of the Lord burnt among them, and consumed them that were in the uttermost parts of the camp. And the people cried unto Moses. And when Moses prayed unto the Lord, the fire was quenched. And he called the name of the place Taberah, because the fire of the Lord burnt among them. 4. And the mixed multitude that was among them fell a lusting, and the children of Israel also wept again, and said, who shall give us flesh to eat? 5. We remember the fish, which we did eat in Egypt freely, the cucumbers and the melons and the leeks and the onions and the garlic. 6. But now our soul is dried away. There is nothing at all besides this manna before our eyes. That was Numbers 11, verses 1 through 6.
Okay. Ain't that something?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, they wasn't appreciating what they had got delivered, and they wasn't appreciating they was eating angels' food.
Right.
To go back to what was going on. They was eating melons and fish and all that in Egypt, but they was being oppressed. I don't see how you can swap that out for and complain about that.
Right.
To be
That's
hungry and free than to be oppressed.
right.
Ain't that something?
Yes, it is. And we don't know how good we have it until it's gone.
Right. Well, we know that situation right there. The end result was he ended up killing a bunch of them for murmuring. Okay. Okay. With that being said, we're gonna go into our current events. We got a couple of videos. Anybody else? Anybody got any current events before I go into the ones I got? Okay.
I just wanted to mention the flooding in Yellowstone Park that they had. I think it was Monday or Tuesday.
Right.
Yeah, they had the flooding there, and where they've had to close off the park. So, as I was saying before we came on, it's just so much destruction that is happening.
Oh,
We see that there was a shortage of baby formula. Now they're talking about a shortage of tampons. I mean, food. The killings are getting worse. They are starting to attack our children. I mean, it's really upticking. So again, I think we just need to stay alert and look out for each other and share the news.
exactly. Yeah. Keep everybody informed. People that want to be informed.
Right.
Yeah.
No matter how big or how small you think it is, just, share it because we don't know, we're located all over the world.
Virtually everyone that comes to visit one of our major cities in the West gets shocked to see the rapid degradation of our urban spaces. Those who live in these cities often learn to ignore the signs of decay that are spread everywhere. But those who are just passing by just can't believe what their eyes are seeing. Massive piles of trash, public defecation, rat infestations, and substance abuse, all happening in broad daylight. Our western cities used to make our country proud and set an example for the rest of the world. Now, they serve as examples of America's accelerating downfall. The worst areas of our major western cities look like post-apocalyptic wastelands, and the lack of public sanitation leaves hordes of homeless people living in the dirt. The ironic thing is that many of these cities aren't poor at all. In fact, some of them are amongst the wealthiest cities in the U.S. That leaves us wondering, if conditions are decaying so dramatically right now, how bad will things get when the economy starts to falter again? In today's video, we're going to expose the dire state of America's urban centers. But before moving on, please support us by leaving a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel so you don't miss our future videos. Let's just go ahead and start discussing the worrying rat epidemic that has been hitting Los Angeles. The rat problem in the Sunny City is widespread and rampant, particularly in trash-congested areas near the city's downtown. Due to poor public sanitation, the population of rats continues to grow. According to Orkin's survey of America's most rat-infected cities, LA now ranks number 2. In 2018, the rat problem has become so out of control that it has resulted in a typhus outbreak. Typhus is typically spread by fleas who've been infected by diseased rats and other critters. In 2021, as schools came back after almost 2 years of intermittent shutdowns, this issue has gotten so bad that just before the new academic year started in August, a local high school was forced to close because they were invaded by rats. The LA Times reported that when the teachers arrived, they found a horrific scene: rats on the floor, rat nests in the cabinets, excrement all over students' desks. Those who are unfamiliar with the sanitation problem faced by Los Angeles are drawn to the city because of the magical image portrayed in movies and on TV. But the truth is that LA is becoming a very filthy place. Needless to say, rats thrive in such an environment. In an article for the LA Times, journalist Steve Lopez details his battle against the rodents. East side, west side, north and south, they're everywhere. If you're a rat, the California House.
Why aren't you the landlord? Yes, you.
Crisis has not hit you yet, and it never will, he wrote. At our house, it sounded like the rats were having relay races in the ceiling, and they don't wear sneakers. Your eyes blink and your leg twitches as you drift off to sleep, knowing that if the plague comes back, you are living at ground zero. In our garden, they devoured entire heads of lettuce. They destroyed my squash just before it was ripe and ready to eat. They stole my tomatoes, cilantro, and Anaheim chili peppers. Were they bottling their own salsa? Lopez humorously remarks. But there's no point in being too hard on LA because similar scenes are happening all across the West. For instance, a massive mice infestation led local authorities to close several restaurants and bars in Chicago this winter. Chicago's problem with rodents is well known by now. 2022 was the 6th consecutive year in which the city was ranked number 1 as the most rat-infected in the entire country. The Chicago Tribune reported that when the economy reopened in 2021, local businesses saw an explosion of rat complaints, with the creatures scurrying to find alternate dining. The city is aware of the problem, and a study conducted last year has shown that inadequate disposal of rubbish in high-density neighborhoods was the main cause. For over 10 years, Chicago has been attempting to tame the rat problem without success. That prompted a local humane society to try to tackle the issue by placing 10 to 15 feral cats in neighborhoods every month. So far, over 1,000 cats have been released on the city streets. Some locals say they did see a decline in the number of rats. We've been able to at least take this whole city block. We've seen a vast reduction in any sort of rat activity, and we no longer have rat droppings in our backyard, one of them said. The lack of proper sanitation and the significant growth of homeless encampments have also been contributing to the continuing degradation of U.S. urban life. In Salem, Oregon, the resident of one of such encampments said the rodent plague was out of control. Amid the trash, human despair, and anguish, one weeping woman prepared to leave the most recent place she knows as home without any real inkling of where she'll go next. Terry Balo, an outreach worker with the Salvation Army, has been here for the darker moments of living life under a bridge. Anger, mental illness, substance abuse, and human frustration boiling over at times everywhere one looks. Yet, it was a rat infestation and a concern about human health that prompted the city of Salem to move the campus out, CBS reported. It just seemed to have become invisible to the Uber-hailing elite. We found ourselves hopping on one of the beautiful F-route trolley buses to find nearly every seat occupied by someone lugging around their worldly possessions in a plastic bag. It was desperately sad, plain exposed.
Okay, any comments on that? Okay.
Would that be considered a plague?
Eddie Gabor joins me now, the man himself. You said earlier this week that we were in the calm before the storm. That was earlier this week. All right, it's Friday. Is this the storm?
It is, Stuart. And what this confirms is the Fed is going to have to force a recession to get inflation down. This is what we've been warning about.
True.
This is why we have not been fully invested all year, and investors need to take this serious. Trying to pick a bottom in this type of environment is dangerous, and I don't think we're anywhere close to a bottom. So they need to take these opportunities to protect their hard-earned capital before it gets a lot worse.
Why do you think we're nowhere near the bottom?
Well, Stuart, if you think about all this money that went in the system over the last 2 years, created, in my opinion, one of the largest bubbles of our lifetime. And now they have to unwind the balance sheet, which means these bubbles are going to be popping one by one. And it's already happening. It happened in crypto first. It's down 50%. NASDAQ's down over 30 from its highs. And you're going to start seeing the larger cap plays do that. This market has to reset to where it was prior before we can move forward. So that means we need to be down at a minimum of 30% in the S&P, in my opinion, before we can even think about being close to a bottom. And lastly, the VIX has been so tame. You do not have a market bottom when you have so much complacency. So VIX is going to 40. We're going down at least 30+% in my opinion, and investors need to protect their capital.
So what's the time frame here? If you say we're going down at least 30% on the S&P, I think we're down about 20% now. When's this over? When are we looking at the other side of this?
So I think the summer is going to be the worst part of this market. As I said on Wednesday, we've told clients, and it's hard to predict, but as our best estimate right now is fourth quarter or late third quarter is when we're going to start nibbling back into this market, because I think the Fed is going to prove everyone wrong, and they're going to continue to tighten into this slowdown. It is a big, big mistake, but they're going to do it, and it's going to cause markets to really tumble.
All right, Eddie Gabor, you've been right so far, certainly in this cycle, and we appreciate you being here. And thanks very much for jumping on the show.
Okay. Any comments on that? Like you said, the summer is going to be the worst. You can already see it manifesting itself. It's right. It's already upon us. Okay. I don't know if anybody heard about this.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. Well, news is spreading fast that close to 3,000 cows have dropped dead. But there are some reports that are saying 10,000. So the actual number is not known at this point, but however many thousands of cows have dropped dead, the report is still very disturbing nonetheless. There is some raw video footage that has been posted of someone driving by one of the fields showing these animals laying deceased on the field.
You won't believe the deals at Ollie's.
Okay. I'm pretty sure that if you Google it, you can see it. I don't want to, of course, I don't want to use the footage here. But anyway, I'm going to give you some more details on exactly what is happening with this very, very strange situation. Of course, it lines up with perilous times, just like the Bible said we're going to be seeing perilous times in the last days. They are here. So more and more stories like this will surface. This is not the first time something like this has happened around the world for quite some time now. We have been seeing extreme weather, extreme natural disasters, situations like this, fish die-offs, birds falling from the sky. Just recently, there was reports of a lot of birds just falling dead from the sky. So we're starting to see more and more of this stuff happening. Anyway, let's get into this report. Okay, it says, did 3,000 cows die in Kansas due to extreme heat? They're asking the question because there are varying reports on how many. Okay, it says thousands of cattle have died in Kansas over the weekend due to extreme heat and humidity. This is a report by Reuters. Several reports circulating on the internet claim that 3,000 head of cattle had sadly lost their lives as a result of heat, heat stress. However, greater damage has been suggested based on the data obtained from farmers and livestock experts. The rising temperature in Kansas has raised concern, and the final death count is yet to come in, according to DTN. Okay. There are videos circulating about this and showing some of the dead animals. But anyway, it says more than 3,000 cows dead in Kansas. One heartbreaking video showing the carcasses of cows widely circulating on Twitter claims that 3,000 head of cattle have died due to heat in Kansas. It says, we are not embedding the video here due to its disturbing visuals, but Kansas state officials stated on Tuesday that the confirmed death toll of the cows is at least 2,000. But other reports have claimed that an estimated 10,000 cows have sadly succumbed to heat and humidity. Based on data obtained by livestock experts, DTN has reported that the current heat wave blazing through Kansas feedlots has killed an estimated 10,000 head of fat cattle as of Tuesday, June 14th. The temperature in the area was reported to be more than 100 degrees over the weekend. At the time of writing, the exact number of deceased cattle in Kansas has not been confirmed. Okay, so that's tripped out, y'all. Some are saying 10,000, some are saying 3,000. Whatever the number is, however many thousands of cattle have died, it is quite disturbing. It is a quite disturbing thing to hear. That's a lot of animals. That's a lot of animals that they're going to have to get rid of. And I'm pretty sure the stench in the air is going to be pretty thick for quite some time. But the loss is great for these farmers. Of course, they do this to make money. This is their living. So they are taking a huge loss here. I'm not sure how the insurance industry looks at things such as this. I'm pretty sure there's got to be something in place. But despite all of that, what killed these animals? Some are saying heat. Some are saying there are other things going on. Some of the reports to me are very unclear. However, they died, whether it's extreme heat or something else, it is quite disturbing. But we're going to start to see more and more of these things happening um, as time wears on. The bird die offs, the fish die offs, the extreme weather, these natural disasters just happening at moments that you least expect. And talking to some people yesterday, they were saying, we were all just talking and basically saying that this kind of heat isn't usually expected in this area until July going into August. June, we typically get milder temperatures. You know what I mean? Like in the 80s, at the most upper 80s, lower 90s. But these extreme temperatures where the heat is over 100 or close to 100. We usually don't see that till around July and August. Now, that being said, I won't complain. We are alive. We are all alive. Anyone under the sound of my voice, we're alive. And so that's
Okay. Has anybody heard anything about that? These cows are dying. Any comments on it?
I did, and I have a question, right?
Okay.
Because farmers, they know how to handle uh, these type of things. When it comes to if a tornado is coming, if the heat, the cold, they know how to, what I'm saying, respond to that, right?
Right.
And so, I done a little researching, right? So
Okay.
2011 was, one of the hottest years, on record in Kansas. And there was no mention of cattle dying.
Right.
So, it could be tied to something else. I don't think we'll ever really know. But I
Right.
know one thing, we're going to have to be careful when it comes to purchasing beef now because they are so wicked. And, they're going to still try to, sell it, do the most to, you know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Exactly.
So we're going to have to be alert of that. I just think it's something behind it. I mean,
Right.
I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at it, like you said, it's been hot before. It's not ain't nothing new to Kansas in that area, that region. So I think what it is based on the economy. Just like a lot of people don't know, they got a serious problem with fertilizer. There's a serious problem going on with fertilizer. So they improvising. They coming up with alternative stuff to try to supplement to make up for that fertilizer. I think that they came up with some kind of alternative when it comes to the feed that they're giving those cows. And when they gave it to them cows, that it's reacting to the heat, sun, inside their bodies. That's what I think.
Right.
Yeah, it's something they eating, and that heat is causing a reaction
A
from the,
reaction. Right.
right in their bodies. Right.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
And I think about too, like when a lot of the plants were catching on fire,
Right.
a lot of restaurants being burnt down. I
Right.
think that too times are getting hard,
Right.
for people to maintain a business.
Right. Right. And they trying everything on the sun to try to stay alive, and they using alternatives. Uh,
Right.
don't know nothing about what the results gonna be, but they just using alternatives to try to, you know, to stay afloat. But it ain't, it ain't good. Well, yeah, and then you don't know what them Chinese doing. They'll bottle up or do anything and put anything in a bottle and package it up and send it to you and sell it. They don't care.
That's right.
Well, yeah. So like I said before, it's a serious issue going on right now with fertilizer. So they coming up with all kind of alternatives for fertilizer. And that means whatever it is they come up with is gonna be in the plants, and then you're gonna eat it. Yeah. So you got to be aware of all that. That's why it's time to start growing your own vegetables and your stuff that you're gonna eat when it comes to that plants and vegetables. Even animals, you can start to raise your own animals. Yeah, link up with some people and and do it, help each other. That's what it's coming down to. Okay, everybody good on that? Okay, so right here I'm gonna open this up now for Q&A any comments, any questions, or any dialogue about anything that you heard over on Clubhouse or on YouTube?
I wanna don't know quite how to, you know, ask this or put this out because I know we have had a lot of discussions on this
Right,
on Prophets of Awakening, but
right,
to really read it and see it firsthand can really be surprising. So, being on social media, like I say, you try to connect with like-minded people,
right.
but you still realize that, like you say, all Israel is not Israel, right?
Exactly.
So today I, ran across a little brief article, and I just want to speak on it a little bit and kind of get, your feedback, just
Okay.
to put it out there to our viewers, and maybe tomorrow go in a little bit more deeper on Clubhouse, right?
Okay.
So, it was a post made, and the post said, "Men need women, and women need men. Stop letting social media convince you otherwise."
Okay.
Right? So, and excuse me if I kind of bounce all over the place. One of the young ladies in the group came back with the comment, and the comment she said is that you believe women was made from man. Woman was made from man, excuse me. Can you explain how that would be possible and give an example of man creating woman as well as scientific proof, right? So the
Okay.
response to her was read Genesis chapter 2.
Okay.
Okay, so she comes back and she says, um, I've read it, and no woman did not come from man. You reading
Okay.
it to understand from a carnal perspective versus spiritual. Women were first and birthed sons and daughters, right?
Okay.
So um, she sent me a invite to join in some of her classes that she give, right?
Okay.
But after, reading her responses to the post, you know, I
Right.
declined it, right?
Okay.
So she comes back and, she says in the chat, uh, dearest daughters of Zion, married or single, be not led astray by men or your husband with false doctrines,
Okay.
written by men for men to deceive you as unlearned women, okay,
Okay.
who do not allow the Holy Spirit to teach you all truth about her laws. The scriptures command us to study to uh, to show us ourselves proven unto Elohim. So I just kind of, wanted you to go in on that a little bit, since this is, Women's Night,
Right.
because I see that there are more and more women that are speaking this way. Um, and this lady is married.
Right. Right. Well, it's what had happened. What has happened is when you go back to Tanakh, and when we as Israelites existed in the land of Israel, you didn't see none of this. Israel had issues, but this was not no serious issue about the, where the man belonged, where the woman belonged, and how the family structure was organized. But it's after the when they came and got us from the west coast of Africa and brought us here and they've been observing us even before that. They've been observing us ever since then, and they've seen how we operate and that the strength that we had in our family units. So, in order to break us down, because they wanted to make slaves out of us, and they wanted to break their union because that union wasn't good for them as far as the capitalistic society had, and using us, they saw us as 2/3 human, as capital. So, in order to break that camaraderie that we had, male to female and the children and all that, they came up with, I don't know if anybody on here heard about it, but it should be. I've been talking about it. The Willie Lynch syndrome. What Willie Lynch came up with, and what he did was he pitted all the different characteristics that we had as a nation of people. They used it and competed against us. They pitted the man against the woman. They pitted the child against the daughter against the mother. They pitted the son against the father. They did all those different things, and over 400 years, 600 years or so, that's what we came to this. Now, the female has no respect whatsoever for his kind, for her kind, the male that's her kind, and vice versa. The male don't have, we got to the point where the male don't have no respect for the female of his own nationality. They don't have no respect because they didn't, over time, all the different attacks they attacked us with, got us to where we at. And then not only that, they brought in feminism, they brought in women's lib, and they brought all that, women's right to have abortions, all that stuff. When you look at it, heroin, crack cocaine, they came in with heroin and decimated Harlem. Well, one hour, there was it was a glory spot for us as a people. Harlem was, we had it going on in Harlem and in Chicago. And now we see now how both of those places look now, because we've been under really military attack from the time we got here, then especially after the we was released, the Emancipation Proclamation. After that, we just been constantly being attacked and pitted one against the other one. Some examples is you can get free aid, from the government, but the male can't live in your house. You would think that don't mean nothing, but yeah, at first it kind of didn't. But as we went on, it started playing this role in the pitting, constantly pitting the man against the woman. Then when it came to jobs, they allowed a woman to get the job, and the man, the man don't get the job. And then eventually it got to the point where, even with education. So then it got to the point where we had all these educated women with decent jobs, but the male don't have nothing. So then they started looking at the male as if, he can't, he's not productive. He don't have nothing to do. He can't compete with them, and they started shunning him, putting him to the side, and start looking at being outside of their nationality as a mate, and vice versa, to the point to where it's at now. Well, we look at our own kind, opposite sex, and think that they is subpar based on the mental programming over the time that we've been here, the 400 years that they brought us over on slave ship to where it's at now. It's at alarming rock bottom was where it's at. The man don't have no confidence in the woman, and the woman don't have no confidence in the man. It's all brainwashing to a high degree. Like I said, if you go back and do your research on MK Ultra, it's a high level process of brainwashing over a period of time to where we got to where we at. Yeah. Okay.
Right. And, I just want to say this, I see when you have a lot of women that are on their own and they're reading and they don't have the correct understanding, right? Because
Right.
again, there are no women amongst the Levites, right? That are
No.
teaching, right?
Right.
So I was reading another one of her posts, and I just want to share something with you guys. And the post said, "So God created the whole universe from nothing, but
Right.
he needed a man's rib to make woman. It makes no sense, right?" And then it says, "You ever witness a woman come from a man's rib?" I mean, to me, you got to really think about that. Have we witnessed, uh, uh, a man striking a rock and water coming out? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, what
Exactly.
she is talking about really does not make any sense to me.
Right.
Maybe to someone else it does, but to me, it just does not, you know, make any sense.
Right. Right. Yeah. So like I've said, based on the brainwashing, and it's all about who you are dealing with as a teacher or as a moray, because and what's happening is so many women that's coming out of the church, and the church, we know what the church is, how wicked it is, and they've allowed different things to happen in the church, and now people are saying that they supposedly so-called awakened, and they coming out of the church, but they bringing all that baggage with them, with the uh, or usurping authority over the man. The man don't have no the man, he don't have no knowledge. He have limited knowledge, so they want to say that we going to. I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna pray to the Most High to get my information, because but we don't see none of that in the Tanakh. That ain't the order in the Tanakh. And then getting in all out arguments with men on these apps, when you sit there and you look at it, you're saying that when you look at what happened in the Old Testament, the Levites in Numbers chapter 18, he tell you he took the Levites, males, unto himself. Levite, the house of Levi, unto himself. They the voice, they the mouth for the Most High. They teach. And then you look in all the captivities, before they went into captivity, after they came out, he always raised the spirit of those Levites in order to bring Israel back. Now that don't apply, and so when you start bringing these things out, they won't agree with that, because if you agree with it, you're gonna see that they're out of order, and they ain't trying to hear that. And so, and like I said before, it goes back to uh, Esau. He's the culprit, and these powers that be that has intentionally injected all this chaos into our psyche, and it's just wreaking havoc. But just like you just read with the mixed multitude, when you understand the story of the mixed multitude, uh, the Most High, Israel, we went into captivity in Egypt. He delivered them out, but a mixed multitude came out with him. And by the time they uh, get ready to go into the land of Israel, when they was Most High was feeding them with manna, it tells you the mixed multitude had them puffed up and was causing serious problems among the Israelites. And the Most High had to do something with them. So when you understand that the Most High got prophecies and all that, it's nothing that's going to usurp them prophecies. He's going to come in, he's going to straighten all that out, because his prophecies and what he's spoken is going to come to pass. And so, saying that, I mean, like I was saying before, all you have to do is, all you have to do is look at his creation. He said, you want to understand him, look at his creation. So it's like I said, look at those the female lions, how dangerous they are. And it's a pride of lions. And when you see them hunt, which is a wonder to watch, how they surround their prey, and then they don't do nothing till the male lion come in. The male lion got to come in and run the prey into where the female lion's at. And so then you look in the hen house and the rooster. It's, you can't justify none of that stuff that's going on with that, because it don't make no sense when you look at how his creation, even with the well, when it's nothing to denigrate nobody, but it's just creation, how his creation is. I mentioned this last night on Clubhouse. You telling me it's millions and millions of angels? We know they male angels. The 70 created 7 angels, but it's one woman in heaven over all these angels. She was there and participated in creating all these male angels. That's absurd. When you look at his creation and see how his creation is. It's about getting in line and getting in order with the Most High and getting back to where we came from. It's not about denigrating nobody or nothing. It's about looking at his creation and rightly dividing it. And we see that he has the male. He said he got houses in Israel. David got a house. Solomon got a house. Samuel, all these men got houses. It's not, the women ain't over those houses. It's males over the house. When the Most High would have those 3 celebrations he had every year, he had the males pass before him. There's a reason. When they had the issue at Ai, the males passed before the Most High, the daughter host. They passed before him when they was trying to find out what the sin was in the camp. So all that stuff being looked over when it don't make any sense. When you look at how he operated, none of that stuff is all that came in. It's Johnny come lately stuff. It came in based on what they've done to us as a people since we came over here on slave ship. And all that's been imposed on us, and people trying to make room for it when it ain't no room for it. When you rightly divide the Most High scriptures. Any situation that comes up, let me read this right quick. Then I'm gonna say what I'm getting ready to say. So we're gonna look at one example. I'm in Ezra, and then I open it up. Somebody talk, and you can't get around this, and so it says they in Babylon. And they're getting ready to come out. He already told them before that Cyrus and Isaiah. He said Cyrus he's going to use Cyrus to bring them out of captivity. So Cyrus then made the proclamation in Ezra chapter 1. He says, now, in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled, the Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom and put it in writing, right? And he said, thus says Cyrus, king of Persia, the Lord God of heaven hath given me all the kingdoms of the earth. And he hath charged me to build him a house in Jerusalem, which is in Judea. Who is there among you of all his people? His God be with him, and let him go up into Jerusalem, which is in Judea, and build a house of the Lord God of Israel, right? So it's been prophesied. Now Cyrus is here. Now let's look and see what the Most High does, right? Verse 5. Then rose up the chief fathers of Judah and Benjamin, and the priests and the Levites, and all them whose spirit God had raised to go up to the house of the Lord, which is in Jerusalem. So you say, what's going on? This is on. He's talking about in Isaiah 53, verse 1. This is on right here. The priests, the Levites, Judah, Benjamin, that's his own, right? So and now that he's waking us up, how can it be that you got different rooms, 4 or 5 brothers in different rooms, bringing out a certain point. None of them know what they're talking about. None of them. Every time a conversation come down, they don't know what they're talking about. But you know what you're talking about. But none of these men, all through the scriptures, we see that he had them in place. The oracles of the Most High coming forth from these Levites' mouth. We the sons, they ain't gone. They ain't all been decimated. It's a remnant. And so now he's raising their spirits like he did right here. But you got people there saying that they don't know what they're talking about. They got the oracles. The knowledge and the wisdom from the Most High coming from them. In all our conversations with men, and like he said before, be careful because when you're dealing with angels, be careful. You don't know who you're talking to. It's the same with this. We coming back as a nation, so you don't know if you're talking to a Levite that the Most High sent or not. So how is it this? They don't know what they're talking about, but you know what you're talking about. The Most High didn't reveal to them, to raise their spirit and reveal the revelation to them in the scriptures. Then they showing it, bringing it to the Israelites, but they don't know what they're talking about. They got it wrong. You got it right, but they got it wrong. And never in the history of Israel that he's been dealing with women in that capacity. All of a sudden, none of the Israelite men know what the hell they're talking about. That's crazy. Yeah, so I'm gonna open it up to it's something to consider for the people that got ears to hear and eyes, eyes to see, and seeking the truth. So, any comments on that?
No, I appreciate that, and you explaining that, but again, you just have to be careful who you connect, yourself with,
Right, exactly.
and you have to go with what you feel is right, not what someone else is trying to make you feel for whatever reasons.
Right.
And like I said, just by reading and having discernment, and the understanding that I have, you know what I'm saying? I know she is off, but I wanted you to put that out to our viewers so that we all gonna run into some people that we need to give 50 feet to. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, right. You just got to give them up and let the Most High deal with them. But
Right.
like I say, that spirit is running rampant.
It is.
And we in the midst of being brought back together, but the powers that be knew that. They set that up for for this time like this. Now that we are awakening, that's another glitch in Israel as a nation, getting back to where they fell from. That's another glitch.
Right.
But like I said before, Most High gonna fix it. Yeah,
Yes.
He gonna fix it because it's it ain't you don't see that. You don't see that in the Old Testament. You don't see that nowhere. And when let's look at another situation.
Okay.
Right, let me go over here. I'm in Second Chronicles during the time of right after Josiah had died. And then, we at the end, almost at the end of Israel, right before the Nebuchadnezzar came. So I'm in Second Chronicles. And let me get it. Second Chronicles. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and read out Second Chronicles, but I just realized I gotta go to you gotta go to Jeremiah. So anyway, I'm in chapter Second Chronicles 35 and 20. This is when Josiah died. It says, and after all this, Josiah had prepared the temple. Necho, the king of Egypt, came up to fight against Shalmaneser by the Euphrates when Josiah went out against him. But he sent ambassadors to him, saying, "What have I to do with thee, thou king of Judah? I come not against thee this day, but against the house wherewith I have war, for God commanded me to make haste. Forbear thee from meddling with God, who is with me, that he destroy thee not. Nevertheless, Josiah would not turn his face from him. The same situation I'm talking about. The man just told Josiah that, you know, your God sent me to do this. It ain't got nothing to do with you. You need to go on. Same thing happening now. You see, people in places where they ain't got no business at, and they ain't none of their business, but they all up in there in the Most High business when they ain't. It's not ordained for them to be in his business like that. So anyway, 22 says, nevertheless, Josiah would not turn his face from him, but disguise himself that he might fight with him, and hearken not unto the words of Necho from the mouth of God. And he came to fight in the valley of Megiddo, and the archers shot at King Josiah, and the king said unto his servant, have me away, for I am sore wounded. And his servants therefore took him out of the chariot and put him in a second chariot that he had, and they brought him to Jerusalem, and he died and was buried in one of the sepulchres of his father, and all Judea and Jerusalem mourned for Josiah. So this right here is Josiah just died. This brought about Nebuchadnezzar. And that story is in Jeremiah, but I'm gonna pick it up right in Second Chronicles 36. Then it says, then the temple of the land, then the people of the land, after Josiah died, people of the land took Jehoshaphat, the son of Josiah, and made him king in his father's stead in Jerusalem. Jehoshaphat was 23 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 3 months in Jerusalem. And the king of Egypt put him down at Jerusalem and condemned the land in 100 talents of silver and talents of gold. And the king of Egypt made Elohim, this is where I'm going right here, Elohim, his brother, king over Judah and Jerusalem, and turned his name to Jehoiakim. And Necho took Josiah, his brother, and carried him into Egypt, right? And Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, his God. Against him came up Nebuchadnezzar. Here we go. This story right here is in Jeremiah 2 also. So it says 6. And against him came up Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. Jeremiah had already prophesied this, and bound him in feathers and carried him to Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar also carried the vessels of the house of the Lord to Babylon and put them in his temple at Babylon. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoiakim and his abominations which he did, and that which was found in him, behold, they are written in the books of kings of Israel and Judah. And Jehoiakim was his son reigning in his stead. And Jehoiakim was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 3 months and 10 days. We're going somewhere with this. 10 months and 10 days in Jerusalem, and he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. And when the year was expired, King Nebuchadnezzar brought him to Babylon with the goodly vessels of the house of the Lord. Now here we go. And he made Zedekiah, his brother, king over Judah and Jerusalem. So here we go. So now he says Zedekiah was 1 and 20 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem, and he did that which was evil, right? He did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, his God, and he humbled not himself before Jeremiah. Here we go. So we're going to go to Jeremiah from right here. So he said, this is what he done. He did not, he said he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. And what is it that he done? He humbled not himself before Jeremiah, the prophet. See that? Jeremiah is a man, the prophet, speaking from the mouth of the Lord, right? And this is how it worked, right? It says, and he also rebelled against King Nebuchadnezzar, who had made him swear by God, but he stiffened his neck and hearkened his heart from turning into the Lord God of Israel. Now let's go see let's go look at the story. I'm in Jeremiah, right quick. We're gonna look at what he done. We're in the same situation now, right? So I'm in Jeremiah. Okay, let me find it right here. Give me a minute. Okay, so remember what they did to Jeremiah. Jeremiah was telling them all what we just read in Second Chronicles, that Jeremiah prophesied to them, told them all this is going to happen, but they wasn't hearing what he was saying. We already see him imposter because he wasn't appointed by the Most High. He was put up there by Nebuchadnezzar appointed him over king over Israel. So here we go. Let me get it. So they got Jeremiah, they got the prophet. These prophets is speaking from the mouth of God to the prophets. So here we go. I'm in 36. Jeremiah, they got Jeremiah bound up. They don't want to hear what he got to say. You know, Most High ain't talking to him, Jeremiah. So 36 says, came to pass in the 4th year of Jehoiakim, we just read that the son of Josiah, king of Judah, that his word came unto Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, take thee a roll of a book, write it therein the words that I have spoken unto thee against Israel and against Judah and against all nations. He's doing the same thing now, right? He's raising up men to bring forth the truth that's been denigrated. He says, and from the day that I spoke unto thee, from the day of Josiah even unto this day, it may be that the house of Judah, look at this, it may be that the house of Judah will hear all the evil which I propose to do unto them, that they may return every man from his evil way, that I may forgive their iniquity and their sin. He's saying every man because it's houses in Israel. It's men over the houses. That's why he's saying that. So, anyway, so then he says, therefore Jeremiah called Baruch, the son of Nero, and Baruch wrote from the mouth of the Jeremiah. See that? Look at this. The angel came to Jeremiah. Jeremiah gave it to Baruch. And so Jeremiah, all the words of the Lord, which he had spoken unto him in the roll of a book, Jeremiah commanded Baruch, saying, I am shut up. They got him bound up. I cannot go into the house of the Lord. So here we go, right here. Therefore go thou, read in the roll which thou hast written from my mouth the words of the Lord in the ears of the people of the Lord's house. Watch this. In the ears of the people in the Lord's house upon the fasting day. And also thou shalt read them in the ears of all of Judah that come out of their cities. And it may be that they will present their supplication before the Lord and return everyone from his evil way. For great is the anger and the fury of the Lord have pronounced against his people. And Baruch, the son of Nero, did according to all that Jeremiah the prophet commanded him, reading in the ears of the Lord, reading the words of the Lord in the ears in the Lord's house. And it came to pass in the 5th year of Jehoiakim, son of Josiah, king of Judah, in the month that they proclaimed a fast before the Lord to all the people in Jerusalem and to all the people who came from the cities of Judah unto Jerusalem. Then read Baruch in the book of the words of Jeremiah in the house of the Lord, in the chamber of Germa, the son. You see that? This is one point I'm getting to. The chamber of Gomaiah, the son of Stephen, the scribe, right? The higher court at the entry of the new gate of the Lord's house in the ears of the people, right? And then when Micaiah, look at this, when Micaiah, the son of Gomaiah, these are all boys, men. Micaiah, the son of Stephen, had heard the book, all the words of the Lord, then went down into the king's house, into the scribe chamber, and lo, all the princesses, men, sat before them, right? Even Elishama, scribe, Delilah, or anyway, all these men, so my point is this. When he sent, let's go to Esther and Mordecai, the prince and the men with the word, the Most High word, is at the gate. They're always at the gate. So Esther would send somebody to the gate where the prince is at, where the men at, to get the word of the Lord. That's where Mordecai was at. That's why they was doing it. Same thing right here. So then 13 says, then Micaiah declared unto them all the words that he had heard. And when Baruch read the book in the ears of the people, therefore all the princes, see that? All the princes sent Judaiah, the son of Neon, and the sons of Silam, and the sons of Cusha, unto Baruch, saying, take in thy hand the roll wherein thou hast read in the ears of the people, and come. So Baruch, the son of Neron, took the roll in his hand and came into them, and they said unto him, sit down now, read it in the ears, in our ears. So Baruch read it in their ears. Now it came to pass, when they had heard all the words, that they were afraid, both one and the other, and they said to Baruch, we will surely tell the king all this. See the order? Ain't no females there. arguing back and telling them that they don't know what they talking about. Brock don't know what he talking about. Brock got it wrong. Ain't no females there. Come on. Wasn't nobody at the gate with when Mordecai was directing Esther. They ain't how it go. You know, it's high time we got that right, because it's repercussions to it. Because the Most High order gonna come forth no matter what. You know, it's gonna come forth. We see it right here. And we see it over.
Right.
We see it when Cyrus came on the scene. He said he raised the spirit of the Levites in the men of Benjamin. You know, just that's the order of things. It's not being a male chauvinist. Okay, ain't that something?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Any comments on that?
No, I'm just, taking it all in, and just, if you don't want to get it right, right? Like you said, there's repercussions behind that, right?
Right.
So there's an order. We all of us have a purpose.
Right.
He created us the way we are for a reason.
Exactly.
And just because you feel different about that, and you're feeling a certain type of way about men, that's not going to change the order.
Right. Exactly. And then it's about who imposed that spirit that's out there. You know, we ain't. You know, you coming along lately, and that bring that spirit, not understanding what it is. It's like I said before. How is it that everywhere you go, the man don't know what he's talking about? You got it right, but the man don't. But in the scriptures, nowhere we see. We don't see no women impose no will on no man. They ain't even nowhere around.
Right, right.
Right. So something wrong. Right. So anyway, with that being said, uh, I had this little. I had talked about it before, but I'm gonna bring it up again because it's got some points on it. Let me say shalom. Shalom, bro. What's up with you? So anyway, let me do this right here.
In history. You may assume a modern billionaire like Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, or Elon Musk to hold that crown. As of 2021, Bezos was the wealthiest of those, worth an estimated $177 billion, according to Forbes. But he's far from history's richest person. Back in the 14th century, Mansa Musa was the ruler of a West African empire and was said to be worth more than double that, around $400 billion by today's money, accounting for inflation. Such wealth is often hard to imagine, so for context, this figure is the same as the national gross domestic product of Norway. Musa was so wealthy that his lavish gifting crashed a regional gold market for a decade, and quite literally put him and his empire on the map. Much of Musa's early life is lost to history, but what we do know is that he was born around 1280 AD in or around the Mali Empire and ascended to the throne around 1312. How he found himself in power is an interesting story, though it is contested by some historians. The story goes that Musa's predecessor, Mansa Abu Bakr, Mansa being the title rather than first name, roughly meaning emperor or sultan, took a massive fleet of ships to embark on a voyage to see what lay beyond the Atlantic.
So this is what I'm talking about. We don't want to talk about this because he said right here, this guy right here, Mansa Musa, the king before him. The reason how Mansa Musa came into power, this guy right here had so much wealth, he wanted to know what was on the other side of the Atlantic. So he took all these ships and crossed the Atlantic. They ain't never see him no more. See, but they don't want to talk about this when they start talking about the black folks that was over in America when Columbus came. They don't want to implement this story into the equation. Okay.
Leaving Musa behind as his deputy. This was centuries before Columbus discovered the Americas and suggested the great wealth at his disposal to be able to afford such an endeavor. But Abu Bakr never returned. Some believe he reached South America and settled there, though there is no evidence of this currently, while others say his fleet likely sank during a storm. Either way, Musa's temporary position was now permanent. The empire he inherited had flourished over the centuries from a small chiefdom into a massive empire, spanning 2,000 miles across the African continent and encompassing parts of modern-day Guinea, Senegal, Mauritania, Niger, the Gambia, and of course, Mali.
So if you look at that right there, look at that map, and look, compare it to the day, compare to us waking up. See, yeah, it's all Israelites. This is what Israelites is at right here, right here. So what do you think Mansa Musa was? Yeah. Okay.
Niger, the Gambia, and of course, Mali. Musa's reign saw the peak of Mali's fortunes, and at its greatest, it contained 5% of the world's population and was financed by trading gold. Musa once claimed gold grew like plants in his kingdom, and though he was obviously exaggerating, it wasn't far from the truth. Nearly half of all gold bought and sold in Africa, Asia, and Europe came from just 3 Mali gold mines. The Mali Empire was also rich in salt, which, in the 14th century, was an equally valuable resource all over the world. Acquiring this wealth on his succession to the throne, Musa did not kick back and live out the rest of his days in comfort. Far from it. He saw a massive expansion of the empire's borders, enveloped cities like Gao and Timbuktu, the latter of which he turned into Islamic center of education, religion, and trade, and completed various construction projects inside his empire and out. Whether Musa was a generous philanthropist, a tactical ruler trying to manipulate trade markets, or simply someone with more money than he could ever hope to spend in his lifetime, during his long reign, the Mali Empire became recognized across the world as a rich, powerful, and almost magical place. Perhaps no point of Mansa Musa's life sums up his limitless wealth like his Hajj from 1324 to 1325. The Hajj is the Islamic pilgrimage to Mecca in modern-day Saudi Arabia, associated with the Prophet Muhammad and one of the 5 pillars of the faith. It is considered a mandatory religious duty of all Muslims to complete the Hajj once in their lifetime, and in 1324, Musa, a devout Muslim, set off to complete it. His journey from Mali to Mecca was 2,700 miles long, but the richest man in history was sure to do it in style. His traveling troupe has become a thing of legend. It contained 60,000 men, some of whom were heralds carrying gold staffs, some trained soldiers there to protect him, and as many as 12,000 slaves. These carried Musa's gold on their backs, totaling 21 tons between them, the equivalent of almost $1 billion by modern gold prices. There were also around 100 elephants and 80 camels that carried enough food and water for everyone, along with almost 300 pounds of gold dust, like loose change should he need it. He lavished this gold on the poor as he went, always being sure to mention who he was and where it came from. In fact, he gifted so much gold on his journey to Mecca that he actually crashed the gold market for a decade in North Africa and the Arabian Peninsula. This is the only account in history of a single man directly controlling gold prices to this extent. Some cynics suggest this was an intentional ploy by Musa to drive trade and attention to his own empire. With the price of gold falling in places like Cairo and Medina, he was happy to point to Mali as an alternative. But others dismiss this by pointing to his great generosity and willingness to spend money on things not directly related to trade, such as building mosques and universities. These alternatives
they don't. It's a disconnect. You start trying if you're looking at this from a biblical perspective, you can see this guy is linked to the Israelites. And then, like I said, based on what we just saw, this what brought the Europeans to the Middle East. This what really triggered off the Berlin Agreement and all that stuff. Where they made the called up Africa and all that was when they witnessed what he done and saw what he done. Okay. Any comments on that before we go into the lesson? I want to shine light on that. Okay, so what we're dealing with tonight is it's sort of like based on what we found out, the information we got on angels, we're gonna bump it against what these people talking about when it comes to angels. And then we'll close out. Okay.
The cherubim are a group of celestial beings created by God. They are the first of the angelic hierarchy to appear in the Bible, immediately following Adam and Eve's fall from grace. Genesis 3 records the events in the Garden of Eden. Having violated God's commandment not to partake of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, it would have been likely for Adam and Eve to reach out their hands and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. As a result, they were forced to leave their earthly paradise. But what would have stopped Adam from going back to the garden and disobeying God again? The answer is given in this verse.
So let's look at that right quick. I want to show you, I'm going to shine a light on a couple of points I want to make in here. It's obvious, all right? So we're in Genesis 1, verse 26, right? Genesis 1:26, it says, and God said, God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowls of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth. So we see right here out the gate, it says, God said. Then it says, let us. So that we know that word God wasn't there, because it says, let us. And this is my point right here. It says that let us make man in our image and after our likeness. But then when Adam sinned, if you know anything about the story, when Adam sinned, angels put him out the garden. It was angels that came and put him out the garden. So rightly dividing it, this angels right here that said, let us make man in our image. But they told you it's the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. Is what that is, the Trinity. There ain't no Trinity, it's angels. They the ones said, let us go down and make man in our image. Because when the Creator created them, they created them in his image. He's the image of a man. When he created these angels, these 7 angels that Enoch tells us. Then they said, let us go down to the earth and make man in our image. The Lord of hosts and these other 7 angels. So understanding that, then they were driven out of the same person, same beings that said this right here in Genesis 1:26 is the same ones that drove them out of the garden. So how can that be? How can it be Father, Son, Holy Ghost when right here we see right here the answer to Genesis 1:26 is the angels ran him out, put him out the garden. So you're dealing with angels. It ain't no Holy Spirit and all that there. It's these angels. It's all that activity that's going on. There's angels there. Okay, hold on.
Genesis chapter 3, verses 24-25. Therefore the Lord God sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from which he was taken. So God drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden the cherubim and a flaming sword.
So see that? So he says, so God put out the man, right? He drove out the man. God didn't drive the man out, his angels drove him out. Okay?
Which turned every way to keep and guard the way to the tree of life. What a terrible situation would have been if Adam had eaten of the tree of life and so had been perpetually established in his fallen state. God sent a contingent of glorious and trusted cherubim to guard access to the tree to prevent that. We don't.
Angels. Sent cherubim. Angels.
Know Adam's reaction to witnessing those glorious cherubim for the
More
first
than
time
one.
in human history. Perhaps awe, fright, and wonder are all emotions that come to mind. In other sections of the Bible, we are told that how people reacted to seeing angels. Zechariah, for example, in Luke chapter 1, verses 11 through 13. Then to the right of the incense altar, an angel of the Lord appeared to him. Zechariah was troubled and overcome with fear. The angel said to him, "Don't be afraid, Zechariah. God has heard your prayer. Your wife Elizabeth will have a son, and you will name him John." Adam realized that his transgression had cut him off from the company and presence of a holy God. Oddly enough, the next occurrence of the cherubim in the Bible involves recovering what was lost. Moses. In Exodus 25, Moses was given specific and detailed instructions on how to make articles of furniture that would be used in the tabernacle. The Ark of the Covenant and the mercy seat, where God promised to meet and communicate with Moses, were the first to be detailed. What did God want to go over or on top of the mercy seat? He chose representations of the cherubim in gold. The following is God's intriguing description to Moses. Have them make an ark of acacia wood, 2.5 cubits long, 1.5 cubits wide, and 1.5 cubits high. Overlay it with pure gold, both inside and out, and make.
Yeah. So I'm trying to drive home the point right here. So, like I was saying in Genesis 1:26, he said, "Let us make man, right, in our image." I mean, Enoch. I want to read something right quick. It says, "This is Enoch chapter 7. Chapter 8. It says, this is when the 200 angels came down, and Azazel taught me to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth and art of working them, bracelets and ornaments, and the use of autonomy, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones and coloring tinctures. And these arose much, and there arose much godliness, and they committed fornication, and many were led astray and became corrupt in all their ways. Some Jahwe taught enchantments, cutting the roots, Amora, resolving of enchantments. Baramadu taught astronomy, Cabal taught constellation, Ezekiel the knowledge of clouds, Uruquel signs of the earth, Shemsel the signs of the sun, and Sora the course of the moon. And as men perished, they cried, and their cry went up to heaven. Here we go. Just bouncing off Genesis 1:26, let us make man. Then all this is going on earth because of these fallen angels. Now we're in chapter 9, verse 1. Then Michael, Uriel, Raphael, Gabriel looked down from heaven and saw much blood upon the blood shed upon the earth, and all lawlessness is being wrought upon the earth. And they said one to another, the earth is made without inhabitants, cries, and the voice of their cries cometh up to the gates of heaven. And now to you, the holy ones of heaven, the souls of men make their suit, saying, bring our cause before the Most High. And they said to the Lord of the ages, Lord of lords, God of gods, King of kings, God of the ages, the throne of thy glory standeth unto all generations of the ages, and thy name holy and glorious and blessed unto all ages. Thus hast made all things, and power over all things as thou, and all things are naked and open in thy sight, and thou seest all things, nothing can be hide itself from thee. Right? And then so we see right here, just like in 1:26, it said, let us go down and make man. And right here, they see what's going on with these 200 angels, and they look down from heaven, just like they look down from heaven in Genesis 1:26. It said, let us make man our image. Ain't nothing else there. Ain't no Holy Spirit, no Son, ain't nothing else there. Stay there. These cherubim. Okay? I'm gonna play a little more. If you got a question, just say something.
Make a gold molding around it. Cast 4 gold rings for it and fasten them to its 4 feet with 2 rings on one side and 2 rings on the other. Then make poles of acacia wood and overlay them with gold. Insert the poles into the rings on the sides of the ark to carry it. The poles are to remain in the rings of this ark. They are not to be removed. Then put in the ark the tablets of the covenant law which I will give you. Make an atonement cover of pure gold, 2.5 cubits long and 1.5 cubits wide, and make 2 cherubim out of hammered gold at the ends of the cover. Make 1 cherub on one end and the second cherub on the other. Make the cherubim one piece with the cover at the 2 ends.
So this on Mount Sinai. Going back to this was crazy about this whole situation. So you're saying that we know the Most High knows the beginning from the end, right? So when he told Moses to make that Ark of the Covenant, but he said on top of the Ark of the Covenant, put these 2 cherubim, right? Well, if he had the sun hidden in the bush, do you think he'd put the sun on top of that covenant? But he put these 2 angels up there. Think about that. Let it ferment.
The cherubim are to have their wings spread upward, overshadowing the cover with them. The cherubim are to face each other, looking toward the cover. Place the cover on top of the ark, and put in the ark the tablets of the covenant law that I will give you. Therefore, above the cover between the 2 cherubim.
This the lead over the law. So JC was over the law, and he was going to die for the law and die for Israel. Wouldn't he be over the top of wouldn't he be over there, overlaid in gold? Come on.
Cherubim that are over the ark of the covenant law, I will meet with you and give you all my commandments for the Israelites. Make a table of acacia wood, 2 cubits long, 1 cubit wide, and 1.5 cubits high. Exodus chapter 25, verses 10 through 23. What an awesome sight that must have been. The cherubim associated with the very presence of God. From those 2 sources in the Bible, it appears as though the cherubim's major responsibility may be to declare man's sinfulness and protect the presence of God from sinful men. As much as Adam yearned to return to the Garden of Eden, the cherubim reminded him that he had broken God's law. The high priest of Israel would be allowed into the Holy of Holies once a year to gaze upon the mercy seat. I'm sure he must have felt on each occasion, I don't belong here in the holy presence of God, for I am a sinner. Cherubim are real and powerful beings. However, the cherubim in the Bible were often representative of heavenly things. They were integrated into the design of the Ark of the Covenant and the tabernacle of God's command. Ezekiel chapter 10, verses 8 through 14. Beneath their wings, the cherubim seemed to have something in the form of a man's hand. Then I looked, and behold, there were 4 wheels beside the cherubim, one wheel beside one cherub, and another wheel beside each other cherub. And the appearance of the wheels was like a sparkling Tarshish stone beryl. As for their appearance, all 4 looked alike, as if one wheel were within another wheel. When they moved, they went in any of their 4 directions without turning as they went, but they followed in the direction which they faced, without turning as they went. Their whole body, their backs, their hands, their wings, and the wheels were full of eyes all around, even the wheels belonging to all 4 of them. Regarding the wheels attached to them, I heard them calling, the whirling, rolling, revolving wheels, and each one had 4 faces. The first face was the face of the cherub, the second the face of a man, the third the face of a lion, and the fourth the face of an eagle.
Downfall. Genesis describes this procedure. Satan, disguised as a serpent, entered the garden.
Okay, today is June 1st. Please say your name and spell it. I'm God.
Placed Eve with Adam and lured them to disobedience and rebellion. This is the documentation of that deception and fall. Now, the serpent was more crafty than any of the wild animals the Lord God had made. He said to the woman, "Did God really say, 'You must not eat from any tree in the garden'?" The woman said to the serpent, "We may eat fruit from the trees in the garden, but God did say, 'You must not eat fruit from the tree that is in the middle of the garden, and you must not touch it, or you will die.' 'You will not certainly die,' the serpent said to the woman, 'for God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil.'" Genesis 3, verses 1 through 5, NIV. We are all too familiar with this record. Much to our dismay, the serpent's temptation induced Eve to put out her hand, take the fruit, and persuade her husband to join in her disobedience. Satan's initial strategy was to call God's word into question. Did God really say, "You must not eat from any tree in the garden"? He asked Eve. Satan was too cunning to start with a direct denial, so he asked a question instead. His goal was to cast doubt.
So the name of this video, in case you want to check it out, is the complete history of angels: cherubim, seraphim, watchers, and Lucifer. So the reason I'm showing it to you is, notice Lucifer there, he an angel, and we see all through this the presentation, there's angels. Ain't nothing else there. There's angels there. Ain't nothing else there. So what it do is line right over what Enoch told us about these angels. Ain't nobody else there. Ain't no sun there. Ain't nobody else there but these 7 angels, and they've been operating ever since day 1 to the day. Ain't nothing else there. If they tell you something else there, that's a lie from the pits of hell. Ain't nothing else. Ain't nothing. They the ones. That's the purpose. Everything that they doing is they was formed in the beginning for that very purpose. We don't need nobody else to come. We just heard that the man said that their objective is to protect Yahweh's throne and the guard over sin coming up there. So where you got somebody here that's gonna die for sin when these angels is guarding over sin? They didn't want dealing with sin. Yeah. So like I said, I did this little class of let it ferment, and I hope it some of this information registers for anybody that's listening to. Any comments on anything before we exit? Anybody got any comments on what they heard? Okay. Everybody good. Okay. Okay. Let me do this right.
I'm black, and I just so happen to be excellent, highly relevant, a definite commodity. Not because of this bronze skin and this ethnic body that's just added glitter. I glisten. Polish and intuition, created and vision with a few screws missing, but that's okay. I mean, how can you not be black and be excellent? It's just the price you must pay. See, being excellent is not all that great. I don't care what the master say. Oh, what I would do to not have to be excellent for just one day. I pray. I see, like really pray. I see the day that comes when I can just be me, the real definition of free. Not the stigma placed on my name. Not the words wrapped around my body. Not the thing that white supremacists blame when they kill my brothers. Not having my excellent black lover beside me and I'm crying that he comes back to me because his excellence makes him a target. Not protecting my daughter from entrepreneurship because her excellence makes her a bargain, not paying her work. Not protecting my black father from hurt because of his excellence. They took his son's name and put it on a replace it with another in an orange shirt. See, being excellent is not all that great. And I don't give a fuck what the master say because the standard I'm held to is blood, death, rotten excellent flesh, rotten excellent mess, and excellent pest to those who lack excellence. They call excellence threat. They call excellence criminal. They call excellence nigga. They call excellence fingers on triggers, hoes, blasts in their chest, big enough to bury a nation. Excellence in this nation is not the goal. Excellence a death sentence. Repeating for being black, I mean excellent, I mean black excellence, but why not just excellence? See, the problem with being the king of the jungle is that one day you may have to fight to the death for your kingdom. And know that if you don't survive, your heirs will die. And they will take your women and take her to a foreign land, make her lay with a foreign man, and go along with his foreign plans. Why does that sound so familiar? Imagine being so excellent that your opponent has no choice but to kill you because he knows nothing realer. So they feel you alive. Everyone before you died by their hand so you would not understand your excellence. Excellence, pestilence of a title to be excellent. A disease inherited by my ancestors that I am both proud of and afraid of. That I will both live for and die for, even if dying is not the choice. So much excellence, it overflows into my voice. They say, she too loud. Nah, bitch. I just got excellent vocal cords. They say her hair. They say her hair too rough. Nah, bitch. I just got excellent roots. My excellent roots crafted me a little different. And unfortunately, you cracked it tough when the artist stroking the brush realized that life would be kind of rough. Sometimes my excellence is too much to handle. But I was born with it, like a finger, like an arm, like a leg, like my head that holds on strong to this excellent brain that holds on strong to ancient memories that I did not make, that makes my hips shake to ancient drums, my ancestors' forms of bass. My fate was designed in excellence. I'm black. I'm excellent. To be black is to be excellent. I don't give a fuck what the masters say. I had a dream, and Martin Luther King's dream came true. Poetry, live. Yes, Lord. All right,
Okay, I'm gonna say shalom, everybody. I'll see y'all tomorrow night on Clubhouse at 8 o'clock. Shalom.
Shalom.